Hi everyone, this is Tim, and this is another conversation. This time the guest is Raquel Meyers from Spain. What kind of times are we living in? Well, we live in times of an incredible acceleration, technology wise and, political wise. Everything is mixed up and moving so fast. It's scary. And the bias that has been present or is present in the society, that's how I look at it, is that, this acceleration is necessary. We are all scared to be pushed out of that and out of the flow of the economy, and we adapt technologies very quickly. But what if we look back and see what we can win when we use technologies that are obsolete these days? What can we learn from them? What kind of stories do they tell? And what kind of aesthetics emerge if we use these tools as designers and artists? All these things are questions that I have discussed with the amazing Raquel Meyers. I'm a big fan of her work. Let's get started with the conversation. Recording
Yes.
in progress. Okay, we can see that we are live now. And okay, we have to do the whole thing again, like saying hello. Hello, Raquel. It's amazing to see you.
Hello. It's so nice to see you again after how long it's been from Prague? Like
2 years,
2 years.
actually. Yeah,
Already 2 years.
pretty much 2 years because
Oh
it was
my.
April 2023 when we were there.
Yes, it looks like yesterday.
Yeah,
It's so bizarre.
time is running. It's like accelerating.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
indeed.
hmm I remember so like you felt like when I was at Prague, that was really a very important moment in my own let's say development of how I think about technology and how I think about the whole design and art community because I was understanding that there's kind of a bias in that community maybe or maybe in that festival that I found very interesting to let's say think about in the last years.
Mm.
And I remember that I felt pretty weird in a way, like on that conference. There was a lot of high-tech enthusiasm, and you felt like I don't know, like a sister in this environment, like a person who understands that.
Yeah, because it was the celebration of, artificial intelligence, like the
Yeah,
glory of artificial intelligence, and also with an anthropologist and in the anthropologic way. So it was pretty bizarre because everybody was just like, this is wonderful, this is a new tool, blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, yeah. So like, don't be afraid, but also like was this programmer that was showing some kind of like lane code. So you
yes,
were,
yes.
and you were like, no.
It was an absolutely uncritical
Yeah,
panel, I would
yeah.
say. Yeah, right.
It
I
was a
mean,
celebration. It was just like, this is wonderful, this is a new tool, and there was no critical
mhm.
point of view. There was no talk about like the cost of energy cost or like what are we doing with all the rest of the technology because okay, this is a new tool, but it generates a lot of trash. What are we going to do with all the trash? And actually, it was also like a turning point for me because I
hmm
got another project. Maybe it's I think because of that panel, of that discussion, I was really
Interesting.
like, so yeah.
Very
So I was,
interesting. Let's just get started from there because I think that was a
yes.
really interesting moment for both of us. I participated on that AI panel
Oh,
and
yes.
I thought a lot about that. I wrote even a lot about that. How did you perceive that discussion?
I mean, I guess it was a celebration. It was really like because there was a lot of project, like it was this sport project, like they get all the information from the beating and everything.
hmm
So from the commercial point of view, I think it was really like it was it was a design conference and more related to how I was gonna say, like get results, like get profits from it. So
Like it's very
yeah,
commercial, like a quite
so,
commercial kind
so
of
it
perspective.
was. yeah, and all the artists was like, you will work for an agency, and everybody was using the same software, the same thing. So it was you and me that suddenly appeared there with like, yeah, we use teletext and coding. So we were kind of like breaking the line a little bit in like what was expected or like not commercial in the super commercial point of view.
Yeah.
But I think there was like very high, design, and I think that panel was also uh, really related with that, like a new tool for commercial and profit, and like it will make your life easy, and you can just code everything. You don't have to, like pay people to do a proper job.
Yes, yes. And so many things happen in the meantime. I would say that the conference, first of all, I love what they do. I think it's amazing
Yes.
there. They have really good intentions, of course. And but at the same time, that was a really crazy point in time when nobody really understood what was happening.
Mm.
ChatGPT, for example, and DALL-E 2 were released a few months before. And then we had this panel where I was a guest. And to be honest, I don't know why. They just invited me, and I was actually ranting a little bit. I felt very insecure on that in that round. But um, in the end, that was a really strange moment because nobody really knew what happens, but I was expecting them to be a little bit more like, okay, let's see what this is, and then we can like think about how we can use it. But it was more like, okay, there was some people from Meta also on the panel, or this one guy, and he said something like, "Oh, it's an amazing tool to earn more money," something like that. Um,
And
I
the
was
teacher, yeah, no, this anthropologist also. She was anthropologist or the teacher
an
or
archaeologist was there, I think,
sorry,
right?
yeah, archaeologist, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the sound on the stage was terrible. I didn't hear everything. I was very, very stressed,
Hmm.
and I was also felt very uncomfortable, and I was very difficult to follow that conversation. By the way, for the viewers, it's in the here in the links under this video. You can check it out. There's a recording of that talk. I would
Hmm.
love to hear your thoughts on that. Um, okay, so but maybe we could just follow this red thread. So we met there. I really resonate with your work, Raquel, since a long time. I saw you first on Holo magazine,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, that was really, really like I was very, very impressed. And this is so I'm resonating so much with what you do and the way you think. Um, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about you, your work, maybe your talk at a Movo conference, whatever you want to speak about, or how you want to introduce what you're doing.
Well, I mean, it's been almost like 20 years of practice, so it's always really hard how to compress
Mm-hmm.
everything. But I came from analog photography, and I guess I came from this viewfinder of the wall, like the square or the grid, and somehow, getting into the grid or using like pixel art and text mode, it was kind of connected from
So what is
this.
text mode? Maybe we have to
Yes.
demystify these terms a little bit.
So I started work for almost 10 years. I was working as an animator and doing like live visuals for musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like into the 8-bit scene and the chiptune, and that was my work for a long time. And in 2010, I moved to Sweden, and suddenly they give me as a welcome present a Commodore 64. So it was not the
Mm-hmm.
first time ever I have a Commodore 64. I never used it, that computer. And the thing that is really specific from that is this text characters that is used is called Petsky. This is text mode because instead of using pixel, it use text characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be text mode.
Mm-hmm.
So it has alphanumerical, like numbers and alphabet, but also have like some kind of like triangles and lines. When you combine all of this, you start to make like graphics and animation. And this is kind of like my beginning point of all my practice. So I started to work with all these text-based technologies, like the Commodore 64, the teletext, that is the pre-internet, like the news on demand, the service, the news on demand service that you can access on the television, and it's
Mm-hmm.
still working in Germany, Spain, and other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Typewriters and fax machines. That was mine because I'm really interested in the obsolescence because
Obsolescence, yes.
because I kind of, I born in 1977, so I kind of grew up with all the different formats, all the different medias that they would be. This is the future. No, it's not. This is the future. No, it's not. They will be the solution of everything. No, it's not. So I kind of always like, I was not able to buy the new and latest technology, so I always was like one step behind. So I was kind of used to do like limitations, just working with what you have, and I was more
Yeah.
focusing the content of what you want to do.
Hmm.
So it kind of all these reference kind of jumped into my practice, and I also give me a critical point in the way we use technology,
Hmm.
because technology goes so fast that it's impossible to learn how to use it, and it becomes obsolete before we can do that.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah. Okay. There are already some very interesting terms that are very dense and contain a lot of
Yes.
interesting ideas. So maybe give us a quick explanation of obsolete technology, what obsolete technology actually means.
Well, actually, it was a term from the 1920s, in the big crisis in the States.
Hmm.
So there was this, you have to forgive me, I'm very bad with the names, but yeah,
No worries.
someone wrote this kind of text about obsolescence or like planned obsolescence because there was this big crisis and they have to force people to keep like working in the factories, get more things, consume more and more. And it was just like the idea of like technology or like objects or whatever have like a short term life because it will be like last forever. The factory will not work, the factory will not produce, we will not consume, we will not go far away. So this kind of like, so the first kind of it was the light bulb
Hmm.
that they
Hmm.
changed like how long it would last. So obsolete technology is related to that, some kind of like technology that have some kind of life term, and at some point it should not work, it should become obsolete, and you need to buy the new one or like through an update, so like
Hmm.
your cell phone or your computer.
Yeah.
So it's just like this, but obsolescence doesn't mean that it's not working. So it's like it still works, but it's just out of date.
Out of date. Exactly. Yeah. Hmm. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And planned obsolescence is when companies actually plan and develop their products in a way that they get older and artificially, right? So I think that's as soon as you start to dig a little bit into this obsolete technology thing, you see that it's existing everywhere around us. Like we have a phone, we have these phones that we buy from Apple, for example, and I mean, I gotta say, technically, these products are very, very good and very um, long. Like in a long term, they don't break that quickly. That's different from, I think, Chinese smartphones that are cheap. That those are damaged way faster. But in general, they build the products in a way that you cannot repair them, for example, and that's also true for Apple. I think there is this right to repair movement in America who tries to change that, but it's still a really, really big issue that we throw so many electronic devices to the trash, right? And they
Yes.
end up in landfills in Africa, and people like working for €5 a day trying to get out the toxic materials out of these machines, which is crazy. By the way, I'm using these obsolete technologies as well. Like I'm buying €100 laptops to do my work on these. This is also a Linux ThinkPad, and I work, yeah, with Linux, you actually can rescue any laptop and any computer, which is crazy. Like, I often think like if people would know that, that would be a game changer, you know? But yeah.
Well, you will be surprised because I think regardless to this conversation and like this talk we have in Prague. So last year I was invited in my hometown to do like a solo exhibition,
Hmm.
and so it was like this cultural center, and my idea was like because it's organized by the council, so I got permit to go to the recycling point to
Hmm.
get what people throw away, especially technology. And the idea was like build the whole exhibition regarding the materials and the technology you took from there, make it
Nice.
work and share it with everyone so they can touch it, they can break it, they can do whatever they want. And if they want it, they can take it.
Wow, that's amazing.
But it sounds great. So for 2 months and a half, I was going every Tuesday because on Wednesday was when the big truck came back and sent it to Ghana or wherever country it was directed to. Normally it's Ghana.
Hmm.
And so I was collecting like CRTVs, DVD players, VH players, everything, cameras, video cameras, 8 millimeters camera, like you cannot imagine. So my house now after the exhibition is like a second-hand big shop. I can I can have a second hand. So actually it was so because of the European law, you cannot take like laptops or cell phones because of the privacy law. So
Uh-huh.
you were not allowed to get like hard drives or anything that could have look at data content related. So,
Hmm.
but still there were so many, and people were kind of surprised, but there was not so much impact or more conversation about it. So I mean, it's like a cultural place. So there was a lot of families and like teenagers and like high school that came. So they enjoyed it a lot, especially a typewriter. There was a big typewriter with a fax machine roll. So they write any kinds of message that you will be very surprised of the contents of the message. There was everything. And yeah, they have like VHS, they play with the VHS, with the cassettes, with like the DVDs, with everything. And like, but it was more something anecdotic.
Like
So
nostalgia, right?
yeah, but actually, one of the TVs I got, the person who threw it away was in the exhibition. And she was like, I got I got this same TV. And it was like, when you throw it away, that's last week. Probably it's your TV.
That's so
And
okay.
she bought it with her first money from the first work she has. So she has a very special meaning. But because it was like the change to the digital TV, blah blah blah. So there was people were throwing away lot of TVs because they were not compatible with the new digital system to get the
Yes,
digital TV.
connections, yeah.
And it was, I will say that every week was like 50, between 50 and 60 TVs, CRT, that you can imagine that most of them work, but they didn't have use and they didn't, they couldn't watch TV on it, so they throw it away.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And I think, people, um, yeah, I'm just thinking like, what can we do as artists, as creatives, as educators to create this culture around um like worshiping this obsolete technology and like, making it attractive. And this maybe is a good portal or a good guide to the next question I have in mind. Like, what happens when an artist works with obsolete technology? What happens when Raquel Myers starts to work with a Commodore 64?
Well, I just found a tool
Hmm.
because it's like I mean I'm not able to, if you give me a piece of paper and a pen, I will not able to draw you anything. It will be like not good enough. But if I type it in a Commodore 64, I can do whatever you want. So I find kind of like, through the conversation with technology, a way to do what is connect my mind to what I actually want to do.
Hmm.
And but it's just like it just happened. So it doesn't matter it was a Commodore 64. It took me almost like 14 years to get the right tool and the right media to work with.
Hmm.
Before I was just like trying out,
Hmm.
trial error, trying out this out, and I kind of lost.
Hmm.
But in a way, it was always related with this idea of like when something lost its commercial value, it's like when you can do whatever you want with it. And regarding to the before question that you have, I think my turning point is like I want to try to not consume anything more. So use what I have, whatever it is. And if it breaks, it breaks. Doesn't matter. So there's no fetish or like for the technology or like nostalgia for it because I never have it before. Actually, I'm using things now that I was not ever able to buy it or get it because they were super expensive. And when nobody cares about it is when I can have them and play with them.
Mhm.
So I'm collecting like a lot of VHS tape that people throw it away because here there's this kind of like little houses that people make like they lay the books and you can take some books and give it back, but there's also a lot of VHS tapes. I don't know
Mhm.
why. For
Mhm.
the 2 months is a lot of VHS there. So I'm collecting everything that comes to me and the
Amazing.
plan is just use it, so and get all the information because also there's recordings from people like trips, photos, everything that you can imagine.
Mm.
And I'm making this kind of like huge archive that I'm not sure yet what is gonna came up.
Wow.
But the idea is like just not consume more, just use what we have and
Mhm.
just trying to maybe the concept of degrowth, the
Mhm.
deconsume, or and find a way to work with it, like you say, installing Linux or just
Mhm.
like I don't know, find different ways. So for me, it's just a playground, and
Yeah.
also and it also have like a responsibility of what we're doing and where we're going. And I think it should be not only like the talking. Sometimes like people is very yeah, we talk, we should degrow, we should not
Mhm.
use that,
Mhm.
but it have to be also put in practice. So I
Absolutely.
think
Yeah.
I think my practice has been always about that, like not talking also about obsolescence or like using old technology because of the fetish of that or like
Mhm.
because it looks cool or it's a fashion. No, it has a long-term like a statement and like critical point of what we're doing or where we're going.
This is amazing. I love that. That's so, I resonate so much with that. And I feel like, yeah, okay, there's so many things in my mind. Like, I look at my own work as an educator in creative coding, as a connector between two different worlds. Like, I have these students from the design sphere, and I love these people. I mean, my students are amazing, but they are like me when I was younger, when I was in my bachelor's or in my master, like maybe in my 20s. They look at design as a tool to express themselves, and they love typography maybe, or they really resonate with these topics that are actually um, like communication through visuals, something like that, which is a very broad word, right? And I try to kind of build this Trojan horse for design education, which kind of sends these ideas from these, I call these radical flanks, like the low-tech community from Barcelona, like the perma-computing community, which I really resonate with as well. Your work, these things, I try to kind of source them into this world where people, I think this is the big misunderstanding. They think about design as something very superficial, as something that you design a poster or, a video or something like that. But design is something, it's about designing systems and I don't know, thinking about the tools as well, like deeply. And that's what I really love about your work. You have this, I think what I love about your work is it's a very clear how you communicate your message. Like you use the Commodore to paint these beautiful illustrations, for example. I mean, you do much more than that, but and at the same time, like it inherits already this message, right? Whatever you draw or whatever you paint, there's this message already inside of your work because you're using that tool. And that's something I find this is like applied and practical, like practice philosophy, right? I find it incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, actually, for the Commodore, I use a software that kind of like related with the BBS. So it's just like records the keys you press.
Hmm.
That's it. So whatever you do is just straightforward. So if you make a mistake, you will see it. So there's no control set, no copy paste. It's just like you go. It's like
Gosh.
knitting. It's like so you make a mistake, you have to fix it, and in some kind of way like
But you
that
can
you need.
fix it. It's possible to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, the software has some kind of update. So if I save a part that, okay, I got into the very nice drawing and suddenly like save it. So if I save that part and afterwards I make something wrong, I can go back to that step that I
Hmm.
save and keep going. So there's some tricks, but you have to save it, and sometimes you forgot, and sometimes it crash because it's also crash, and you lost all your work. But it's kind
Wow.
of like you cannot do anything else because it demands your whole attention because it's kind of tricky to like I build animation or I type at the same time I'm thinking about what I'm doing. So it's like I have no more attention for anything else.
Is
So
it a
it's kind of
flow
like
thing? Do you get into a
yes,
flow? Okay.
yes.
Like flow is this cognitive state where everything like disappears and you're just focused in that thing. And it's like a meditative experience in the end, right?
And you have this, the sound of the keys because it's very like so it's kind of
This hardware, like clack, 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 clack,
yeah,
clack.
and you get into kind of like a trance, but it's also like it's a lot of fun. So
Mhm.
because even if you make a mistake, but it's just like you're doing something very like just typing characters and like thinking crazy things and like just like and you just enjoy the moment when you build it.
Mhm.
And I tried to do it in an emulator, but you have to map the keys and it doesn't have the same flow. It's more artificial. Of course, you have like a lot of versions of like the online editors that you will use it as Photoshop. But
Mhm.
that's what I really like about using the Commodore. It's like the keyboard thing. It's like you type and you type and you build. So that's why my practice is called like the keyboard Sloyd. It's like the drawing and typing by crafting. So it's just because Sloyd is this Swedish word for craft. So it's kind of like a digital craft. And
Sloyd. What is that? Sloyd?
Sloyd.
A Sloyd.
So it's
Never.
I can type it. It's like the English word Sloyd,
Uh-huh.
and in the Swedish is SLG, the O with the two dots and the D,
Mm-hmm.
and it's for craft. But this, I mean, it's for everything that you can do with your hands, but it's also used for coding.
Mm-hmm.
So use it for knitting, for coding, for woodcraft,
I would take
for
some notes here. This is so cool. I love that.
yeah, I can send you because I have some articles regarding to the teletext and
Uh-huh.
the keyboard Sloyd and I mean all these concepts and idea because it have so many reference and it came from kind of like a huge and long-term research. And
Wonderful.
it's available for everyone because I try everything I do. I try that is public. You can share it or you can find it, and I will make a PDF and you can download it. So because I think it's really important that we share knowledge and we
Absolutely.
share and have conversations and find kind of a way to deal with the huge mess we are in.
Very true. But I mean, then of course, like for digital artists, and it's like this also something that Holo Magazine has been thinking about in this digital, how is it called? Like there was this reader where I designed some visuals for them about like how does digital artists sustain when they don't have something they can sell, you know? So this is probably also something that yeah, you have learned your lessons in that, I guess, as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, as it's very complicated. I mean, I'm not, like I'm not multidisciplinary by, because it's cool. It's just like for survival. So I have to learn how to make so many things, and I have to
Hmm.
find different ways to show my practice through workshop, performance, installation, graphic design, commercial work, like
Hmm.
whatever I can find it, because it's like I always want to have the freedom to do whatever I want,
Awesome.
and it's really difficult, and is sometimes it's very frustrated, and it's very complicated, and so I kind of I never been able to produce like huge or like sublime work, like because I never have the money or the production for that. So I always have to adapt to what I have and just find my way through the periphery and the underground, just to find a way to keep going and just keep learning and searching and trying to find. But it's complicated, and yeah, no, sometimes it's like yeah, you want to give up, but I know what I do and I want to keep going, even
This
if
is
it's sometimes
so
it's
amazing to
struggle.
see you. It's amazing to see you so positive and like so you have such a great energy, and that's something that can inspire lots of people, right? I mean, I think we are in these times where everything is accelerating all the time, everything is getting faster and faster, and especially people in the creative industries, or let's say in the creative economy. And both terms are a little bit weird, I think, but um, I count arts and design together here. I think there's a lot of fear to not being able to maintain the living. And I think, yeah, well, this is a fact. We know that like artists are struggling so hard, and in the end, it often keeps them away from doing the work they maybe they want to do and they feel like they should do, and they maybe don't even look for the ways that yeah, it's a very complicated topic. I know people really, really struggling. It's something that
I
touches
I
me a lot.
mean, I took a decision because I knew it's like, in a way it was like you're always gonna be poor. It's you always gonna struggle. It's just like you make a decision, and that's why I was living in, like rent room apartment for almost 20 years. And
Hmm.
it was like I would probably never be able to buy a house or get like a stable life. And yeah, I sent open calls because it's also like, things don't fall from the sky. Sometimes people invite you and it's great, but sometimes you just have to send a lot of open calls, applications, and you work for a month and you are not even selected. But it's just for me, all this kind of like, there's expression in Spanish, when I don't know in English, barbecho. It's like when
Barbecho.
when you leave the land to rest before you uh, will plant something else. So it's like you are in barbecho. I will try to find the term in English.
Barbecho. Barbecho. Okay.
Barbecho. So it's
Okay.
like you are like in standby because you
Uh-huh.
need to then recover. And I use that for research or try new things and like but I mean, it's also related with what kind of person you are. I mean, it's like for me, like I'm very persistent, I'm very methodic, I'm like don't stop. And even if I have my crises, because we always have crises, and sometimes it's like what I'm doing with my life, where I'm
Hmm.
going. It's been
Hmm.
so long, I'm still struggling.
True. Yeah, yeah.
And the drama. But sometimes it's like when you do your work, it's like I love it, I like it, I enjoy it so much. It made me so happy. It's my sanity.
And
Um,
it makes you special as well. I mean, what I see with people that kind of choose this lifestyle that is not oriented towards like let's say profit and commercial success, let's say. I see that there's something growing between these people. It's like a community that kind of holds together, and it's really interesting to see how, for example, I was hanging out with a low tech community in Barcelona a lot. Not a lot, but I would call them some of them friends. And it was so nice to see like how they organize their work and like how they collaborate with each other. I mean, this is also true for the design community as well. Like it's a precarity in many cases. It's very difficult to sustain as a designer in Barcelona, for example. And yeah, I think that's where communities become super important, and people have, their friends and they help out, right? That's the thing. You need a network then.
yeah, you share opportunities because sometimes you find open calls that are not for you, but it's like, yeah, that's suits you great. So you should send it or like because sometimes I got like mail from people like, I found this for you, and they send it to me.
Mhm.
And I don't know, and you share the tools and you share the time and yeah, I think I don't know, it's just like commercial. I mean, because I have a lot of friends that were working for like, agencies and like for 15 years in Madrid, and they all of them end burnout.
Yes.
Actually, we start fine arts in Valencia together, and they
Hmm.
are finished. But I left the first year because it was not for me. I
Oh,
mean,
wow. Okay.
so, I mean, at the time I was studying in Valencia, I was, the beginning of like ends of 2000. So I was more interested in like media, photography, video, and that was something that you have like 4 year too
Hmm.
far away. And I was really bad at drawing, sculpture, everything. So it was for me it was hell. And I decided to like, okay, I will find a job. Go something else. And I cannot be here and just like I feel no, that's not my place. And they all ended working in the publicity and advertising and everything. And it's just only me who kind of like ended work in actually arts when I left the first year.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I guess I always have this thing of like, I have to do this. I don't know why. Maybe I just would like crash my face to the wall, but I have to go there. I will see what happened afterwards. So it's just like, follow your own guts.
Yes.
And sometimes not even know why, because sometimes you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you good? Like, I don't know. I
Hmm.
just have to do it.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. Just go.
absolutely. I totally feel that. Like my own resonance, I call this resonance. For me, this is resonance is a feeling that I follow, and I try to be in touch with this resonance as much as possible in my life, in my work. So when I feel like I'm resonating with someone or like with someone's work or with this project that I'm doing, I'm trying to follow it. And it's very privileged. I see that I see myself as a yeah, an extremely privileged person because I can do that. Um, and yeah, but I think this is also, some people don't see that there are sometimes more possibilities than you think to do that. And they're too scared maybe to, you know, go out of the hamster wheel and yeah,
Well,
listen to yourself, right?
I might say that, the problem also in the art world or all this creativity world is like, we got a lot of insecurity because there's a lot of ego and, it's really hard sometimes to be able to trust yourself and what you're doing because it's like, I mean, now we have just social media to kind of like, like you're doing good work because you have like a lot of people that like your work. But
Hmm.
sometimes you don't, but it's just like doesn't matter. And there's a lot of people that they don't even interact with that.
Hmm.
So it's really difficult. I mean, you have to believe in yourself and what you're doing. So it has to be a lot of strength. And I guess this it's not like they like people are scared but also like yeah they're insecure because it's really hard to throw yourself
Hmm.
and just like hey I'm here and maybe nobody cares about it and it's like or you don't have any interaction but because for me sometimes I thought that my work it was like "Well, nobody cares it's
Hmm.
like it's just there and it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that getting more attention or is more fashionable or what you do is not, in the mainstream right now or like,
Hmm.
so it's really hard and complicated to, to keep going, especially in a long-term run. Because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a, keep and have some kind of coherent trajectory or like a way, like, like not jumping to so
Yes,
many places and get
exactly.
lost in the way. So trying to find something very like, just you took a direction and you just go and of course you try things out, you move around, but it's really complicated and yeah, and you need support and people sometimes it's like, it's nice when someone say that they like your work and sometimes you just need that like you just
Hmm.
keep going but yeah
100%.
it's really complicated it's like it's not like a black and white thing is and it's became really like hard to work in this creativity world, especially with like Spain. Spain is the worst
Yeah.
because you have no support, there's so low grants, like everybody's just doing their thing or trying to survive, but it's always like an alternative ways or like, periphery in a periphery way because it's like there's always the same artist or like a kind of artist that they're like take care of, like they're everywhere or like whatever but I think always the interesting things or like the most, the things that will take us somewhere else are not really like the mainstream.
Hmm. 100%. That's a yeah, that's a beautiful end sentence what that you said as well. Like the things that are not obviously the ones that lead you to your big success are the ones that pay off in the long run. Like when I started creative coding in 2014, nobody really cared about it. Like I had a big luck that I had a good friend, Patrick Hübner, who I was exploring this field with together, but without him and without this kind of sparrings partnership, and like I did that for maybe 4 or 5 years until yeah, I mean it was helping me a lot to learn programming, and programming at that time was a really nice tool to earn money because I was able to create websites and stuff. But I still think that the best way to start something new is like keeping rhythm every single day, like doing something every single day. And if it's even 5 minutes to half an hour or something, it's totally fine. The rhythm is key, I think. And I would like to know, like, do you, I think you agree with that, right? I see that in your work that you like constantly work on it. How do you apply these kind of strategies to keep rhythms in your life or like structures?
I mean, it's just like, you develop a skill, you need to train your skill because if you don't use it for a long time, you will lose it. I mean, if it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, the drawing in this Commodore or even the drawing on the teletext, and you read and you try things and like, of course, you need to take breaks as well because you need to let things sometimes let the thing go. But it's like non-stop work. I mean, maybe you are not producing or drawing, but you are like reading or you're like searching or you're looking some other stuff or you're like getting ideas. Because in my case, my work first start with an idea or a concept or something I want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, it want to like develop like the content or like the graphics or the format or the animation or whatever one I want to use. But I always have like a first idea or like
Mm-hmm.
something I want to talk about it.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's a tricky thing, right? It's a really tricky thing. Um, what would you say is the like if you could create a project and get a budget for something that you like a big budget for a project, what would it be? What kind of project would you love to create?
That's tricky because it's also like I think I became too practical because I've been moving around a lot. So I always think like, okay, if I have a big thing, what I will do afterwards with it.
Mm-hmm. What do you,
So
I don't get that. What do you mean by that?
no, I mean, like, imagine that you print a huge, like a 2 meter, 3 meter roll or everything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, if you don't sell it or someone get it, like you have to take it back with you. I
That's true.
have, I have, I
Yeah.
have no place for it. So my first, big piece. Because I got a residency in Bilbao Arte, so I was doing a sculpture, a totem that it was like a wood totem. So I was using so from the illustrations of the C64, I
Mm-hmm.
was taken
Wow.
to CNC.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I built this totem with like, four layers, kind of like a puzzle. So, and it took 60 hours of CNC.
Oh my goodness. What the heck? Okay.
So, and, it's, so my thought it was like, okay, I cannot do like a very huge thing because I will not fit. It's like 2 meters, 40 centimeters. So it's quite high. But it's completely like it's a puzzle. So you take the 4 layers, the 60 layers, and you just put in a box, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's no joints nor anything. It's just like a puzzle. So that was kind of so I never really think about if I would be, if I would be able to have the budget to do something kind of monumental.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure because it's also like uh, I guess it goes also this cost of energy. So I will try to do something monumental, but with just get access to a recycling point and
Mm.
make it more about a lot of content. I don't know because it's like you print, but what you do afterwards, or like I don't know. I
Maybe you
don't.
could hire many people that like go to these recycling points and get lots of these devices for you, and you could build a gigantic sculpture of TVs or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure because I think, this idea of the sublime or like the art speak because I've been in some, I was in Basel, Art Basel,
Hmm.
and it's all about monumental and like
Yeah, I
big.
understand.
So you have this small idea, but you make it so big that it will look great. Doesn't matter if it's not, but because it's monumental and
Hmm.
super big, it will make some kind of difference. But I don't know. I'm not so much into this idea of this, sublime or the digital or the big. I guess I mean, I kind of like get overwhelmed with
Mm-hmm.
that.
I
But
understand.
I
But
guess I like, I think if I will do that, it would be like a big sculpture, like, but using small pieces. Like
hmm
probably I would like, I have a project in mind, or I'm been working on a project that I want to use the character set of the C64, but I want to do like mosaic, and I want
hmm
to do like big mosaics out of the
Ooh,
screen, so take it somewhere
sweet.
else.
I
But
mean,
you will be able to collect it and take it
mhm.
away. And I like this idea of the lantern, of like not leaving anything behind you, like something that it will just, you put it there, but it will disappear.
Interesting. That's very interesting. So, because I think my question also guided a little bit into this idea of taking the visuals out of the computer. That's something I feel like, I'm into writing right now. I'm writing a lot and I love writing. And I try to publish, I want to publish books about creative coding, about, media and creativity with technology and about design and stuff. So that's my project. But I was already publishing lots of blog posts, but I want to kind of create something that is physical, that comes out of the computer, right? I'm really kind of tired of looking onto screens. I mean, it's so difficult when you also, I mean, it's the same for teaching. I love going into a room where the students are. I can speak to them. I can, like, it's a tangible physical experience. And yeah, I want to I want to use the computer as a tool for my work, but I'm trying to get things out of it right now. So that was kind of the thing that I was pointing to. Do you feel the same, or do you
Oh
think it's
yeah.
totally sufficient if it's everything is happening in your Commodore 64?
No. That's why I mean, I always, so part of the practice was like do some kind of expanded typing. So like taking out of the screen and
hmm
like, make something else with it. Because I don't know, I mean, the Commodore is just like the tool, but this, and if you just focus on that, would be like the fetish. It's like because it's the fetish, but I think it's more about the
Yeah.
character set. So the basics of my work is like the grid is the framework, and the text characters are distractions. So it doesn't matter what it is. So it's just the grid and
hmm
text characters. So it could be a typewriter, it could be a Commodore 64, but it could be also mosaic, it could be knitting, it could be cross stitch, it
hmm
could be anything. And I kind of like understand, because for me it's the same. Actually, the idea of the publishing and the text, because I was in a symposium like before the pandemic, and it was regarding to the I never forgot the word, like how you preserve the work in the future. It was all about like the preserving of the work, and it was an old gallerist, and she said something like, doesn't matter if it breaks or disappear,
hmm
just take a picture and write about it. that
hmm
was that was what she said, and
Okay.
it kind of stuck with me, because it was, I mean, they were talking about like the works, how would you preserve works in a long term, and like how you can keep it. But we always, that's why I talk about the practical stuff, or like I don't have a place that I can keep all my work, like if I will do like big formats and everything, because I don't have the space or the money
Yeah.
to keep it. So it's like I guess we're living in a very like practical and day by day, because also like, it's kind of connected what we were talking before about like
hmm
how you survive. I
hmm
survive because I don't need my production. It could be just in a computer, like, or a 64 that is just a kilobytes animation, and it have
Yeah.
not so much space. So I don't need a big hard drive. I don't need a big computer, because also like I can do the animation using Flash. I
hmm
edit my animation using Flash.
Ah.
I cannot use After Effects because my computer will crash.
Yeah.
So I use very low technology, very low software that it just doesn't need so much. You can run things. So it's kind of, the practice is also like a very like day by day. How you solve, minimum gear, minimum hardware, minimum software, like minimum space.
hmm
And yeah, and of course, when you don't have to think about it, you can go big. Or if you have the support, it's like, of course, I will make like sublime and huge stuff.
hmm
But I I don't know. It's just like it doesn't stuck. It's
Hmm.
like, it has this kind of like it's too big, but you will forget about it because I'm seeing a lot of like super big exhibition or like super big art, but it doesn't stuck.
Yeah,
I
I
think
understand. Sure.
I I think I'm more interested in the thoughts or like the way of thinking more than in the production. So I want to write and read and have more discussion about like where we're going because it doesn't have any sense like produce art for the sake of the art, just like we do stuff, doesn't matter what we do with all the things. I don't know. I think we need some kind of discussion, open conversation of it's really, I mean, what's the point?
Hmm.
What are we doing? What's because
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to, okay, I need to rethink that. I need to stop doing things just for the sake of doing things. Because I don't know, I'm worried. I mean, things are not going great. There's something beyond that. So I think we are in a very like political situation or like we cannot be like just passing through or like, no, I'm doing my stuff. I don't care about the rest. I think we need to be, I don't know, just take part of it. And
Hmm.
I don't know, like it's tricky. It's really tricky. It's
Very true.
complicated.
But this is actually leading me to another interesting question that I really would love to ask you. So, I mean, as you know, I see myself mainly as an educator, and I love doing that. I'm speaking to lots of students, and I think since I am kind of maybe in some people could say I'm radicalizing in that way, like that I'm really focusing on these limited technologies in quotes because processing is was high tech 20 years ago. Um, right?
Indeed.
Um, but I have very good reasons for that, and I'm writing about and thinking about that a lot. So the question I have for you, I wanted to ask you is like, how could we encourage young students who are maybe in this mode of acceleration to like what could they do to still at least have a little bit like 1 feet in the water of 1 foot on this onto the soil of these, let's say, future-oriented ideas that are not solely about profit. And the design scene is so driven by that. Like, do you think there's a good strategy, like philosophically, like designing their life to not get disconnected from that way of thinking while studying design and working in design?
Ooh, that's tricky. I
Hmm.
mean, so I've been doing some workshop and working with like from university students and like high school students, and you have like in these big groups, you have like different, these people that are really like curious about the things and they like to try the things. The others they don't because just like they put a wall in front of you and you are just in the other side.
Hmm.
So. But I guess the first thing that we can do is just that, like show them the options. Because
Hmm.
I mean, just thinking about myself as a teenager, like I would love that if someone will like come to me and show me stuff because I came from a very small town and I was
Hmm.
not having any options, so I have to find my own way. That's why I'm very curious and I'm kind of like very like because nobody really teach me, so it was just up to me. So
Hmm.
and you have some people that are that they will find their way no matter what because they're just like curious and they will learn and find their way and find their tools and then just like and others just suddenly you show them tools or new medias or new ways that you don't need a bunch of money, you don't need an iPhone of 3,000 euros or a computer of that costs 5,000 euros to make stuff. You can
100
just
euros are enough. Well, 140, I have to say. But this machine is amazing. Like I work with that and I do all my work with this computer right now. I mean, it kind of lacks with some design tools that I try to use, but anyway, that's difficult on Linux. It's another story, but I found it so surprising that it's not necessary what everybody, and it made me more creative. Like I'm designing the systems that I'm working with instead of just applying these tools that lead to these funnels of thinking, these workflow funnels, you know?
Because it's like when you don't know, or like you don't, I mean, you have limitation, you have to use your brain, and you have
Exactly.
to find ways to solve problems that there's like you have no option. This is like
Hmm.
this, whatever it
Hmm.
is. I have it like, for example, with the teletext, you have seven colors, and the black is transparent. That's it. And you just have this on the screen, and you have to do something with it. And you have these tools, and that's it. So it's like what you want to say, what you want to do, what you want to like, and all the workshop when they try, because they're so used to high tech and programming, suddenly they struggle with something so simple in the
Hmm.
first.
Very
And
much,
it's
yeah.
just, and I think that's when you show them like something that is supposed to be a solid, it's like pixel, blah,
Hmm.
blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of, and suddenly they try to do something on it, and it's like you have to code, you have to think, you cannot just like jump it away, because it's not like you just put an effect or like something and it will make something else. It's like AI, build me something, just put some words
Yeah,
and it
it's
will generate.
meaningless. It's
No, you
meaningless.
you have to work with it. You have to involve yourself. Is I mean, if you make something shitty, it's your responsibility. You
Yeah,
are the
yeah.
one who did it. So it's like this ego thing. It goes away because if it sucks, it's your fault. You cannot blame the computer because it's old. No, no, it's you. You didn't make the effort to make something nice. That's what I like also about that of the demo thing.
Hmm.
In the demo thing is what in the demos were like this. When everybody got like these illegal games, they have this
Yeah.
intro with the scrolls and the sound, and everybody was like hacking. So the demos kind of evolved from the cracks, and
Hmm.
like was like this. Demos with sound programming and graphics, and and you have these demo parties that you have to show your skills, and it's just you have a compo, you show your work, people like it or not, that's it. Or you're lame or you're elite, or you're good or you're bad.
Mm, wow, wow, wow.
And
Yeah,
that's it.
sure.
And so you
It was the
cannot.
early creative coding community, and it was also an early motion graphics community in the end, right? Like
Yes.
maybe the origin.
And people still so for example from the Amiga or the Commodore 64, it's like even the companies are gone, so the Commodore company is gone, they're still
Hmm.
making hardware, they're still making software. Actually, the software I use, the one I mentioned of like the recording the type, the keystrokes,
Hmm.
it was not in the 1983. It was something that someone coded like a few years ago. So
Wow.
there's also like update the tools, update the things. So that's why it's also when I say that the technology goes so fast that you don't have to time to get to get the best of it. You can still learn things
Hmm.
from it. The limitation, like you say, with the old computer, just you put Linux on that, and suddenly it's like you're
Hmm.
free. You don't need updates on Apple or Windows, or like your system doesn't fit with the updates.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just we're going somewhere that before technology was like this thing of like open your imagination and your creativity, and it was like, and now it's more and more like closed system, clothing. You get an app, you cannot get out of the box. You have to do this. Everyone is doing the same, using the same tool, using the same effect, publishing in social media, and just like feeding a non-stop hole of nonsense and crap that goes nowhere.
Yeah, it's so
And it
true.
just burns all creativity because it's so boring.
Hmm.
It's just boring. It's
It's
bored me
also
to
machine
death.
made. It's a
It's,
machine made. We are poisoning the data centers, or like we are accumulating so much bullshit with that. Uh, and I think, yeah, having a strong stance, like having a strong attitude, and like fighting. Well, fighting is a very strong word, I would say. Like, but sustaining that pressure and saying like, I want to do this, and I want to, send this signal into the community of media arts or design or whatever. I think that's so beautiful. That's what you master so well.
I mean,
Um,
it's entertainment. I mean, we cannot, one thing is entertainment. It's just fun. Let's make this Ghibli effect with AI,
Gosh, please.
whatever. But it's entertainment. It's something that you put there, and
Hmm.
my grandma or my mother will love that. Someone will send that in WhatsApp. It's just entertainment. It's something that, I mean, doesn't have any critical thinking or anything. It's just like, I mean,
Hmm.
let's not blame that, but that's not open your creativity. It's just closing you into a box. They don't give you options. You just follow the feds or like the setup someone else make
Hmm.
for you. So you will not find a different way to produce anything
Or your
else.
own way, right? Your own way, because I think that what your works really demonstrates, like your work inherits this attitude towards technology. And as I said already in a few minutes ago, or maybe half an hour ago, whatever you do as Raquel Myers with that technology, it is the statement is already included, right? That's so interesting. The tool becomes a message. And
I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
that's so
I
cool.
mean, I guess it's because my first choice before fine art were like philosophy. So I
Hmm.
have critical thinking right from the beginning. I always been, think about things like where are we going, and I don't know. I
I love
never
that.
really liked make wallpaper, especially when you work with the old technologies. It's very easy to make like very nice patterns,
Hmm.
but I was really into the storytelling, the narrative, like building something, saying something, because I don't like to use that as decoration or like
Hmm.
patterns.
Sure.
I just want
Sure.
to go farther that way. And I just use in text mode because it was like the tool I found, and it found me. So we found each other, and it was actually like, yeah, this is finally I can do what I want to do.
Wonderful.
But it could be something else because everyone has their own path and their own way, and it's just
Yeah.
like, so the idea is like try things out, fail hard, and keep going,
Keep
and
going. Yeah.
be curious, and just mix the things and follow your own instinct or like your renaissance or whatever. But don't think so much of what the other people think about it or what they think, or like if it's not good enough or not. It's just like create your own thing beyond anything, because it's like you have your unique only voice,
Hmm.
and nobody should shut it down, because it's
So
like
true.
we shut it down, and other voices just like mixing in like the fog. There's something else that is just foggy everything, and then we're just losing actually like we just product like production in serial of like everyone is doing the same, going the same
Hmm.
way, and just like
Hmm.
boring and entertainment, sure,
That's
but
very true. That's very true. Now, you said you studied philosophy, right? Is that true?
well, I mean, I try, but I think I always was like a very like an anarchist.
Uh-huh.
So I never, I guess it was really hard for me when, yeah, I couldn't follow like university at that time. I mean, I started to study in the beginning of 2000, but university in Murcia, where I come from, was really bad.
Hmm.
And I didn't like my teacher, I didn't like the way they teach me, and it was so boring, and it was like,
Hmm.
no, this is not for me. Probably someone should take me like, you should go abroad, you should go somewhere else. But nobody was there, so I have to find my own way, just like by failing and try and error. And I just read. I read
What
a
did you
lot.
read? What did you read? Okay, here's the thing, because I started studying philosophy yesterday.
Oh
Um,
wow!
I'm a big like admirer of philosophy since many years. And here's a great university here in Paderborn where I live. It's also a small city. And yesterday I had my first seminar. It was like an introduction to philosophy, and today I had a seminar about Seneca. So that was really cool. What kind of philosophers do you find inspiring for your attitude, your work, your trajectory?
Oof, that's a tricky question. Well,
Hmm.
I read from essays, of course, but
Hmm.
also like novels, films, music. Like I like to
Yeah.
mix
And you
everything.
make music as well, right? I saw
Well,
I saw your band.
I make, well, I'm a singer, I'm a punk singer.
Super nice.
So, I mean, I grew up in a very small town, so there was nothing to do. So that's why I kind of like got my brother's camera, and I was just, getting out at night and shooting factories in the dark. We got a very like teenage dark, and we were angry, and like, yeah, of course. So I was singer as well, screamer in a hardcore band.
Wow, super.
And
I
I
saw it.
guess, yeah.
I also had a
And
hardcore band when I was well, it's a little bit longer ago, but yeah, that was I loved it.
Yeah, and they look for me in Sweden when I was living there for like the 20th anniversary, and so we've been doing few concerts just for fun, and yeah, just I don't know, it just feels nice to just get out and like yeah, just throw all. We're still angry. We still things to do, but yeah, it's just fun. I don't know. It's just something that it takes. It's very like visceral and very energetic, and I don't know. It just
Cool.
like gives you a lot of power somehow. But
Yeah, that's super nice. I
it,
mean,
it's
music
it's fun.
music is philosophy as well, right? I mean, especially this
Yeah.
punk music is super. It I think, yeah, I'm also really resonating with Diogenes and the cynics. I wouldn't say that I'm not a cynic, but I find it super inspiring how they looked at the world. And I just held this, by the way, I just held this talk about Diogenes at Demo Festival.
Mm,
So I was kind of making the weird attempt to try to see if I can bring together Diogenes philosophy with motion design, which was half possible, I would say. Um, yeah, so that's really interesting. Like everything is connected. Culture, philosophy is also culture. Like everything is kind of entangled, and that's that's so interesting.
I mean, I guess I use a lot of like, well, I read a lot of books from before Berardi, this Italian philosopher,
I don't know this
also
person.
Giorgio Agamben,
Hmm.
and Paul Virilio. Paul Virilio wrote this book about bunkerology because I've been reading a lot of things regarding to concrete of Solis, and I mean
Hmm.
there's a bunch of reference that because now I'm more into the city and the
You
tourism
gotta send
and
that to me. That would be awesome. Would be really
mm,
nice to get these links. Then I can
yeah,
check them out and
I
maybe share them here in the in
yes,
this.
I can make a bibliography, like a first
Okay.
a little bit set of reference so people can check it out. And if we have a suggestion, because for me, I got my reference from reading. So I read, they
Hmm.
mention someone else, I go there, I find someone else. So it's always like,
Same here.
and it's just feels like the more I read, the less I know. So it just feels like more and more I
I
know
get it.
nothing at all.
I'm reading Douglas Rushkoff. I finished Douglas Rushkoff book.
Oh,
Do you know
nice.
him? He's super cool.
Yes.
Well, I see it's getting darker here. I have to adjust the camera at some point, but it's called Survival of the Richest, and it's about the tech billionaires. It's a very critical, extremely
Mm,
critical perspective and an analysis of how the people take that kind of control our world. It's
mm,
dark and it's very eye-opening as well. And it encouraged me more and more to go deeper into that mindset of open source, low
mm,
technology, reusing that technology. Permacomputing is something I find amazing. Like it's so interesting what
mm.
happens there. Um, so many things to follow. But I also have to say, I think we should wrap this up because it's getting a little bit too long
Yeah.
otherwise. Any final words to the people that we are talking to here?
uh, we'll say like have fun, uh, have became be curious, find your way, like struggle,
Yeah.
but it's you will find the joy and like it's. I mean, it's complicated. I cannot say like this is like a very nice way. Everything will be fine.